economy down. It's amazing how not working can shine light on what you're working with. Dark times need enlightenment. We gotta wake up, open the blinds, pull back the covers, and get from under what's not important. No more inflated values, missed priorities, or irreconcilable divorces. Love is in need of assistance, so we need to change the system and redefine where the wealth is. Saving Wall Street don't mean nothing if we can't pay attention to what's relevant. Us, the state of you and me, is in need of more stimulation than economics. We need more investments in spiritual kisses and more intimacy between partners. You see, money is backed by gold currently, but that real currency is making.
Hello and welcome to Across Community Lines. My name is Latara Jones. I'll be your host for this program. And alongside me, I have Mr. Jones, who is my co-host. Today, we are presenting our final and third part of the webinar, Jobs, Where They Are, and How to Get One. Please stick around after our webinar so we can reflect upon everything that we just learned. Mr. Jones?
Yes, and please stay with us at the end of this program so that we can have a spirited discussion of the issues in the three segments.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Ms. Nicole Parks. Ms. Nicole Parks is the University of Pittsburgh's African American Alumni Council. Ms. Parks, thank you for being here. You ready?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry that I was not able to attend from the beginning. We had our annual board meeting today. We are here to support Latara. I know that this was not one of our national events, but we're here to support Latara, and we're happy that all of this good information is going out to the community. The community has been a vital part of our students at the University of Pittsburgh, or Black students at the University of Pittsburgh. And so I want to thank all those that are on the call that are, in our virtual meeting to share all this good information with the constituents of Pittsburgh. So I just want to thank you again.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Parks? Ms. Jones, anything you want to say?
Sure. Nicole, please share with our media attendees and with our panelists the things that our University of Pittsburgh African American Alumni Council is doing on Pitts campus with our students, please.
Currently, right now, we are working on a retention, recruitment, and graduation project where we are looking at the practices of the university and making sure that they are adhering to equal footing for our students. We continually have an endowed scholarship program that we are currently working on to provide financial support to our Black students. So we're working on that. And we have some other mentoring engagement programs through Pitt Commons and the RISE program that we do to support our students. So there's a variety of programs. We did hold a virtual programming for the community for the pandemic in the beginning of June. And so we have some other events. We just recently had a Black History event where we highlighted Black excellence for Black alumni at Pitt. So we recently had completed those activities. So we continue to work with the university in supporting our students.
That's great. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Parks? Ms. Jones, do you want to go back to Mr. Richardson?
Sure. And what we'll have to do, I'm sorry. Now I'm getting. Now I'm sorry, everyone. I have family telling me to ask you a question. It's okay. It's all right. So what I'd like to do, Representative Gamey, is to really, because Mr. Richardson, you really have such a wealth of information. We truly a pillar in our community. What we want to do now, Representative Gamey, is just if we have questions. I know Christina's been filled with questions, take them from the attendees, but also to Mrs. Tedder. She mentioned her inspiration, her why, and how she is being a role model for people, for the students. I think a lot of people need encouragement right now. And if we can have everyone just share that, that would be really beautiful. Right, Representative Ganny, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Okay, so piggyback on that, does anybody have questions, or the people that had questions that was taking questions, do we want to bring those questions to the forefront now? Anybody with questions? Michelle Tedder, I hope I said it correct. Do you want to go in a little bit more into your inspiration and why you believe that's important?
Well, I think well, I'm gonna flip into in my coaching when I wear lots of hats, and so when I'm not at CCAC, I also I coach people, and I always say you have to understand your why, right? You have to know why you do things, because if you have a foundational understanding of your why, then no matter what's going on around you, that will serve as your inspiration and your motivation, right? Because when you're driven by something internal, nothing will stop you. You will continue to press through the difficult times, the good times, and no matter what people tell you, if people tell you no, you will still have an internal yes that will continue to inspire and motivate you to press forward. So I think that, when we talk about external motivators and, what drives us, external things are okay, but at the end of the day, you've got to understand your why, because that's the internal motivation and inspiration that will keep you going when you begin to live in things like a pandemic. And you've got to be in it for the long haul, because you can't control when the pandemic is going to be over. You can't control when you're going to have access to the vaccine. You can't control any of those things. The only thing you control is what you do for yourself, what you tell yourself, and how you manage yourself. So that's why it's important to know your why. And once you can latch on to that, then there's nothing that will stop you. Nothing. A pandemic, your past, trauma, a bad day, nothing will stop you, because you will be grounded in knowing your own internal sense of inspiration and motivation.
Yeah, that's powerful. Let me ask everybody a question, and whoever wants to answer. In regards to workforce development, and we're dealing with a lot in our community, what have you seen some of the barriers that COVID-19 has made for employment opportunities? Or just, and when I mean employment opportunities, I'm really talking about personnel, like what personnel has went through in regards to being on the job, or just getting employment, or feeling the impact of the unemployment spike that we had. What are some of the things that you're seeing out there that, if you had to say, that we as a community need to try to overcome this barrier, what would it be?
One of the things that of course we're facing is a lot of the businesses that have gone out of business.
Mhm.
Some of those businesses are not coming back. Pittsburgh, on the one hand, has a lot of employment opportunities. I think I saw number came up 144,000 jobs. But in the industries that, especially the folks hardest hit with the pandemic, they're not necessarily eligible or capable for being able to access those jobs that are open. And that's actually been a story for Pittsburgh for a very long time. We've had thousands, tens of thousands of jobs that are available, but the folks that are here for various reasons can't access those jobs. I think the situation has been exacerbated with the pandemic. So it at once creates an opportunity, if we're really going to be serious about how we prepare the folks that are unemployed now for the new employment opportunities that are there, more skills training, of course, more training in kind of what's relevant in terms of the jobs that are coming up in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is an IT center. There's some free IT training coming up, and I had wanted to make sure I mentioned this. There's a new IT company coming. They're starting their first classes, 14 weeks, full-time, 9 to 4, free training that provides you with everything. It's going to be virtual, and the successful graduates, they will work with the individuals that graduate. This is Java development. So they'll become actually certified developers. It's with a tech company. They are successfully running these programs around the country. I think Ms. Higgins probably aware of them. Yeah, they're called Per Scholas. So we're going to be partnering with them as well, but provides an opportunity for the new jobs, for the real jobs that are going to come due. There's going to be a lot of construction, infrastructure. We talk about the infrastructure, construction, housing. Historically, folks, especially low-income folks, have not had the opportunity to have access to these jobs. We've got to be serious about preparing folks for these opportunities that are coming.
I see it from, this is Mary Jo from CCAC. I think the most impact of this COVID are women. Women, because they have children, the kids are at home, now if their job requires them to be at work, they can't be at work, so they lose their job. So we're gonna have this, many women now who are now going to be re-entering into training or trying to get back into the workforce. And what are we doing for those folks? Because the skill sets that they had, like the company may have closed, there's lots of things that I think the most impacted here are going to be women from the COVID and what we need to be doing in retraining and job placement and all those things are for that group of folks, because it looks like some of these schools may not be going back until the fall, until the herd immunity happens. And so we have these women who now lost their jobs because they couldn't go back to work.
Yeah.
What are we going to do for those folks?
You bring up a good point, and maybe Ms. Higgins, you can offer some perspective on this as well. When we talk about the IT, the explosion of IT, understanding that a lot of the minority community has not really advanced in IT. When you look at the data itself, how do we prepare this city for the movement of an IT center when we know that some of the basic skills that are necessary hasn't really been found in workforce development? What can we do? Because Mary Jo brings up a point. Because of the pandemic, the shift is here. There's no question about it. The shift is here, and that now you really have to retool your whole skill set in order to even compete in this new market. What are some of the things you see in regards to workforce development training or jobs that you see coming down that that a lot of people that's walking in career links may not be qualified just because their background is not in IT?
Absolutely, thank you. So I'll start with that, and then I'll tear back to the other things that I was getting ready to say. So it's been said several times in this discussion so far, and we are a resilient people. We are a resilient nation, and with your why, you have to get to know you. Something that we push and empower individuals when they step into a CareerLink office is to tell me what you bring to the table and know you, and we will guide you to find out what your transferable skills are. A lot of people right now, to no fault of their own, are extremely, they're hopeless. And there's so much hope in this time to change, to better oneself. And to me, I say, ask what's out there, right? So when you think about your why, most families, they know their why. My children, my home, my family, that's your why. My health, that's your why. Your why can, sometimes is I have to protect my family, I have to protect my health, so I have to stay home, right? All things out of your control. We try to educate, or we work to educate individuals on their transferable skills. So potentially, I worked at a restaurant. I've worked at a restaurant my whole life. This is hypothetically. I've worked at a restaurant my whole life. I'm no longer working at that restaurant. And I foresee that I will not be able to go back to that restaurant ever again. And now I don't want to go back to a restaurant. So what do? think about what it takes and the experience that you have from working at a restaurant. You have people skills. You deal with collateral. You are trusted with money. You use technology. Most restaurants, there's some type of computer database there that you have to enter information in. It's teamwork. It's customer service. It's resolution building. I can name thousands of jobs that require that skill set. With that skill set, you know, PA CareerLink, Partner for Work, PSI, there's the BankWorks program, a locally funded organization where individuals go through training and then are connected and they are trained in the general skills to get an entry-level job at a bank. Most of the people that are participating in the BankWorks program are dislocated workers from fields that are in decline due to the pandemic or no longer available. Perscalis is coming. You know, and I quickly mentioned this before. There's a platform that Partner for Work has been working with IBM. It's called Skills Build. You can do training, tech training, in the comfort of your own home, on a phone, on a, you know, on whatever data, on whatever technology you have, to get exposure to, you know, a basic level of technology. And now through Skills Build, you go through a learning plan, and it starts at the basics, and you can build and gain certification. Mary Jo said it, Kim said it, you know, we say it, and I think anybody in a position of hiring and recruiting knows every company uses their own platform. Every company uses their own database. If you come with and I don't even think it's, you have to have some type of tech experience. If you can articulate what it is that you've done and how it can be applied to an opportunity, it's the opportunity is endless. So I think what we have is, you know, me as the project director of the CareerLink office, you know, educate and empower to say, don't think because you don't have a degree, or don't think because you don't have exposure to this technology that you can't learn it and that you can't do it. Back to the first question, it was what inspires me. At the beginning of 2020, I said 2020 was going to be all about Kiera, all about me. Did I not know 3 months in, I was going to just be with me by myself and alone, right? So I learned about myself, what matters to me, what I enjoy doing, what brings me joy. I learned to, you know, I picked up old habits. I mean, you can see my books behind me, some good, some, you know, some entertainment, some not. I had to learn myself, which also changed my why. So it's spend this time, and I mentioned this before, and Ms. Jones and I talked about this. The best thing I can say to someone when they talk to me is, and I preach this to my team, people are coming to us for employment help. But there's a deeper level of that conversation. They're talking about their family. They're talking about their children. They're talking about fear. The job market has changed. We don't know what the job market is going to look like. I would say before, the job seeker supply outweighed the demand. It outweighed what was available, right? All these people were looking for work, and, you know, employers could be picky, if you will. Right? Now, there are employment opportunities out there, and there are people seeking employment, but there's so many other barriers. We're talking beyond race, beyond exposure. We're talking about health. We're talking about safety, and Mary Jo touched on it. Now families are being educators, right? As a former educator, I know I feel bad for parents trying to be teachers now. So it's take a minute and listen to yourself and get yourself what you need, and make sure that you are addressing what you need, understanding what your why is, understanding what matters to you. And then as that shifts from personal to your professional, be able to talk about what you bring to the table, because there is no other you. There is only one Kiera Higgins and only one skill set. There is only one Mary Jo and the skill set that Mary Jo brings. There is only one Michelle Tedder, and the positivity that Michelle Tedder brings to this call. You know what I mean? There's only one of you, and there are things that only you can bring to an employer, to an opportunity, to the community, to the organization. And with your why, know you and know what you bring, and that stands out more to someone who personally recruits and hires than maybe a credential or what a skill set can bring. So use this opportunity, use this time while we're in waiting, if you will. When am I going to get the vaccine? When am I going to go back to work? When am I going to be able to see my family? To identify who you are and what you bring. And that'll take you so much farther in this atmosphere than I think anything else.
Wow,
I hope I answered your question with my also like hoorah moment.
Representative Danny, we have like 5 minutes left in our program. So we have to go to Ms. Diane Powell, then go to you.
Ms.
Oh,
Powell?
thank you, Latara. On behalf of Black Women for Positive Change and the Pitt Alumni, African American Alumni Council, and Latara Jones, we would like to offer our sincere gratitude to each of our panelists this morning. I thought it was outstanding. And I hope that the people who are listening gained some information that would give them some hope and encouragement as they go about their lives and seek employment opportunities. This is a unique time in our country's history, and it's going to require each and every one of us to dig deep and to really think creatively in terms of how we can support our families in this region. Black Women for Positive Change has been on the scene for about 10 years now. We have worked very, very hard in terms of our advocacy and working to support working class families, advocating for affordable childcare, healthcare issues, making sure there are adequate job opportunities that are available to people in our regions. We've also delved very deeply into violence prevention initiatives and have worked to change cultural norms around violence, with a particular emphasis on youth outreach. So we understand that our region has a lot of work to do, but I am encouraged by what I saw and heard today on the line. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at pittbw4pc@gmail.com. We would love to hear more from you and hope that you found today's session helpful. Thank you for joining us today. And Michelle Tedder summed it up best. Obstacles are, they create opportunities for us. So think creatively, despite the barriers in our life. Think of opportunities that exist. So thank you.
Representative Gainey, we have like 3 minutes left. Want you to take 2 minutes and we'll conclude it.
Okay, I just want to say thank you for everybody that came today. Ms. Jones, again, you've always been about community and bringing people together. You're an inspiration to a lot of us, so I want to thank you. Please tell your father I said hello as well. Ms. Powell, you've been doing it for a number of years, building up young Black women and helping them to see their vision and their future. And I just want to thank you for being one of the partners in this. And just to the rest of y'all, I thank y'all for the wisdom that you displayed today and just talking about what we have to do to continue to go forward. And so I just want to thank everybody for having me the opportunity. And I want to thank Martell for covering for me while I had to do my own little thing here. So again, when I say it takes a community, this is what it looks like. Thank you.
And everyone, we want to thank you. This is being recorded, our webinar, so it'll be aired at PCTV, the Pittsburgh Community Television Corporation, Comcast Channel 21, and also Verizon 47. And so, you know, we appreciate you. It's our family. This is what we do. And again, this is across community lines. So stay tuned and thank you so much. You've been a blessing to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Hello and welcome back to the third and final segment of Across Community Lines. We're presenting the webinar entitled Jobs, Where They Are and How to Get One. And so, Mr. Jones, what was your thoughts about reviewing the webinar and information presented by our leaders?
I thought that it was a very effective program that we presented here in 3 installments. I thought that everyone that was involved gave exceedingly pertinent information that was needed to be put out into the community. There's 3 areas that I like to talk about right now that I think is really important. The first thing, we need to talk about this coronavirus. This virus is affecting everyone. It's affecting jobs. They've lost, I think since Corona's begun, they've lost 10 million jobs. Now, 10 million jobs is a whole lot of jobs. And they said something like 500,000 or 400,000 of them are not going to be coming back. Now, that's a significant amount of jobs that are just gone. They're gone for different and various reasons. A lot of people are in small businesses, and a lot of small businesses, they could not take the financial hit that it took for them to maintain the business, like your restaurants and your bars and your exercise places. And a lot of these places, they were just making it through their at full capacity. Now, they can only open up at 10, 15, 20, 25% capacity. That doesn't allow them to manufacture a profit margin. That doesn't allow them to be paid their employees or make any of their bills. Or, as a matter of fact, now it's a serious thing about rent. Some people own their stuff and they were able to make it, but a lot of these businesses, they were renting or leasing, and they don't have the money to pay the rent or the lease. And the government is supposed to come up sometime soon with some money to help, but that's not helping right now. And the unemployment situation is just so crazy. It's beyond crazy. 10 million jobs have been lost. That is crazy. And on top of that, 10% unemployment. 10% unemployment by definition in economics is a depression.
Yes.
That means that you are in a horrible position, and they're saying that in the black community and some other communities, this could be 15 or 20%. That is beyond belief. And what that's affecting is your transportation. People were trying to get jobs. They cut back on transportation. You can't get to the job. And
So, Mr. Jones, what about with the leaders, with the resources that they were talking about discussing? What were your thoughts about that?
Well, I think that the leaders and the resources that they discussed, free training, free job apprenticeships, I thought that was really magnificent. And it's all across the board. That was really good. What I'm really concerned about is the transportation and childcare. You can't get a job if you don't have people to watch your children. And the kids are trying to go back to school. Well, not only the children, you got adults and older people trying to go back to school, and some of the elements of what was spoken about address some of that. And I thought that was really great in and of itself.
And also Miss Carrie Higgins from Pia Career Learning talked about giving people bus tickets and helping them with transportation, and also making referrals, to the different organizations to help them.
And one person that I was really surprised at, and they are really sophisticated and they're integrated, was Giant Eagle. Giant Eagle is selling food. You got to have food. So they're taking care of their stores, and also they have auxiliary segments behind the scenes. They're hiring people to cook the food so you can get cooked food. They're hiring people to come in and maintain the stores and that type of thing, because when this first started, you couldn't get toilet paper out the store. And you couldn't get milk and different things. Now they seem to have corrected that. And the other thing that I thought was particularly interesting was she said that they are looking for everybody across the board. They need accountants. They're going out and they're hiring every kind of person.
So they have positions in the store, retail, opportunities for college students, and also too corporate positions. And also, what about PA Career, like their services? What were your thoughts?
I thought that was really good for the simple fact that you need to retrain. They were talking about retraining and re-educating people, and some people are displaced and they're going to need to find a different type of position. And I thought that was really significant because a lot of people, they didn't have a position in the beginning. I mean, if you're a dishwasher or you're a waitress, well, if you can't do one of them, then you have to go into another segment of the economy. And they provided different instances of where to go and who to call and what to see. In education, we're going to spend vast sums on training and education here in the next 10 to 15 years.
So community college, Community College of Allegheny County was 2 programs that they were talking about. So then also for the Pittsburgh Community Services Corporation, so they spoke about their training programs, different job opportunities, and then also too with Senator Jay Costa's office, the services he's offering to his constituents. So what were your thoughts?
I thought that was excellent also because right now you have legislators and people that are making laws and legislation. They seem to be trying to address the issues here of unemployment and opening up the economy and allowing people to gather and getting the kids back into school. And we have to be careful, and I think that Senator Costa and also Representative Gainey,
That's right.
they both have a good feel of how things are. And that legislative aide, Mr. Pettigrew, I think.
No, Mr. Martell Covington.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Covington, he described his workforce development program, and we're going to have a lot of money invested in workforce development. We're also going to have a lot of people like he was working with to counsel, because once you lose your job, then you feel a feeling of helplessness, and when you get that helplessness and that frustration, then you have a rise in violence and domestic disorders and alcoholism and all kinds of things. And I thought that he was very effective in how he was talking about how Senator Costa and him as in his past roles before he went to Senator Costa's office, he was involved in where was it?
Community Empowerment Association.
Community Empowerment Association, also in McKeesport and in the city of Pittsburgh. You have a vast array of municipalities. McKeesport is far from downtown Pittsburgh.
And then also, Mr. Jones, what was your thoughts about Black Women for Positive Change, what Mrs. Diane Powell had presented about the organization?
I think that women have gotten the sour, at the bad end of the deal here, because most women have been displaced. And a lot of women have to come home because they have children. And they have to address the issue of child care. Well, most mothers do raise their children, so they're in a very terrible position. And they're not allowed to get back into the labor force because they're man or they don't have the job. What is it, waitresses? Now all these waitresses that were making almost slave wages, what is it, $2 an hour or $3 an hour? I mean, come on, we got to do better than that. And they're trying to raise that up because those women that are doing those jobs are mothers and single parents. So here you have a mother that's not doing well. So if the mother's not doing well, the child is not doing well. So you have hunger, and they talked about what was it, food insecurity? Is that
yes, that's right.
And that one woman, what was this, some kind of HOP program? I forget.
Oh, that's Mrs. Michelle Tedder from CCAC.
Yeah, she was talking about a program. I forget I forget, just some kind of, it's a great program. You need to call her and be with CCAC. And one thing that people need to understand, Community College of Allegheny County was founded by former legislator Kaylee Roy Irvis. He was instrumental in founding that, because for a long time, Black people, minority people could not get training and education. So he founded that as a stepping stone to get Black training and education to the overall Black community of Allegheny County. And one thing that we have to really give CCAC credit, they have stepped up. They are on the forefront of a lot of different things. They're in a partnership with Duquesne Light. They have a electrical program in partnership with Duquesne Light to give people jobs. We did a thing before where Duquesne Light, the person said that they were hiring. Duquesne Light is hiring. Giant Eagle is hiring. There are a lot of people that are out there that are hiring, but we have to get this information to the people that need a job. And I think this program here has been a very essential and necessary and needed program, because there's so many people say, oh, I want to work. Well, if you want to work, pick up the phone, dial these people, because the opportunity is there. Trust me.
And then also too, Mr. Jones, now what about Mr. John Patterson, our executive director at PCTV Channel 21?
Mr. John Patterson, let me tell you about Mr. John Patterson. We've been doing, you and I have been over here for over 25 years. Just you and I. We've been involved in this station for 25 years. PCTV, Pittsburgh Cable Television Station, is one of the most underrated, unknown, unheralded. It's almost like trying to catch fog in a cup early in the morning. Mr. Patterson does a fantastic job. You hardly ever hear him. I'm so glad and so fortunate that he got a chance to speak his mind and say his opinion, because he is like a ventriloquist. You don't never hear his voice. And in this station, PCTV, Channel 21, needs to be better recognized. This station is a crown jewel of this city.
There's so many community producers to produce great programs. Hundreds.
There have been hundreds of producers. We as a family here, we produce this program. You have another program. I have a program of my own. And there's
so many great
people. At least 100
great people here.
200 or 300 different community people.
Yes.
This station is just fantastic. And as a matter of fact, just to tell you how great this station is, the city of Pittsburgh took part of this of their idea, and now we get to watch the city of Pittsburgh's what they vote on and that type of thing. That is the influence of PCTV.
And also too, we had the University of Pittsburgh African American Alumni Council, the president, national president, Mrs. Nicole Parks, she was there too. She was there briefly. So what were your thoughts about the webinar, the program that she spoke about, Mr. Jones?
Well, she being part of the Afro-American Alumni Association, that is very significant in and of itself, because there's a lot of blacks in this community here, and the University of Pittsburgh has had a number of graduates, of which you are alumnus yourself, but they have stepped up, and they're trying to improve the educational opportunities at
University of
the
Pittsburgh.
University of Pittsburgh. And overall, most of your educational institutions are trying to recruit more minorities and different things like that. Matter of fact, your unions are even becoming involved in that, which I think is great because everybody can't go to college. But they did speak about how people with trades, you know, like I think Mr. Pettigrew, he talked.
It was Mr. Jones. This is Mr. Covington.
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Covington.
why am I calling this man
I
Pettigrew?
don't-
I don't know why. I got
Mr. Covington.
Mr. Covington, I
And
am,
also Mr. Richardson.
and Mr. Richardson, both of them talked about trades. They're going to need welders. They're going to need tradesmen to build stuff. I don't know why I keep on messing up that man's name, but it's all right.
It's okay.
I love that brother. And we, I think, provided a venue for people to get information and the trades. And also they talked about caregivers.
That's right.
You know, you got to have caregivers. And right now, they're trying to get people a vaccine so that we can get out and be amongst each other again. Because this is taking a terrific toll physically and psychologically and emotionally and definitely financially. The economy's being strangled.
So, Mr. Jones, we have a few more minutes left in this segment, so we want to just wrap this up and go on ahead.
Well, you started out.
Oh, we started, okay.
Yeah.
So first, we want to thank everyone who was involved with the webinar. So many people, all of them, all the leaders, their teams, everyone in their offices, because without them, without PCTV, we wouldn't be able to do this. And so we're just grateful to everyone. Mr. Jones?
Yes, I want to give an extra shout out to PCTV. I think PCTV is just as important to this city as Iron City Beer. You know, because there are hundreds of people here. There's a lot of different programs and information coming to you from this building, from this channel, and you need to really be cognizant of it and take advantage of it.
And support it.
And support it. Support PCTV.
Yes.
Because they're going to do a fundraiser or something here, and they need support. If nothing else, just come down here and be a community producer, and whatever you got on your mind, put it on the TV. That's what we're doing. I mean, we're not getting paid for this. We're taking our time out of our lives and becoming an effective and outspoken, opinionated producers. And this is our production here, because everybody needs a job, because everybody needs to make some money, and we don't want you out there being criminals. But that's fine.
Mr. Jones.
Oh, nobody wants to be a criminal.
This is true. But again,
we're not trying to put nobody in jail.
Yeah,
Tell somebody to go to jail.
Yeah,
No,
we're
we're
trying
not
to do-
doing that.
yeah.
We want to make an honest living. You know, everybody needs an honest living. I mean, if you ain't doing nothing but selling papers, sell the papers, make your money, and go and buy you some, some food or, some water, a lot of water. Down in Texas, they're looking for water. We got water here. We got all kinds of rivers. And we're not having problems with our water system like they are.
we're very fortunate for that.
Oh, God has blessed us tremendously.
That's right. But here, thank you again for tuning into Across Community Lines, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you ever so much.
With the economy down, it's amazing how not working can shine light on what you're working with. Dark times need enlightenment. We gotta wake up, open the blinds, pull back the covers, and get from under what's not important. No more inflated values, missed priorities, or irreconcilable divorces. Love is in need of assistance, so we need to change the system and redefine where the wealth is. Saving Wall Street don't mean nothing if we can't pay attention to what's relevant. Us, the state of you and me, is in need of more stimulation than economics. We need more investments in spiritual kisses and more intimacy between partners. You see, money is backed by gold currently, but that real currency currency is making this house a home for you and me. Backed by what we do and how I love and respect you. Loan modifications are for houses, but there's no foreclosures on this home. We own this, no loan on this. You're my 401k, my retirement. Everything I own invested in your feelings. Wide awake and sleeping with my future on this. It'll take more than a depression to hold down elevated consciousness. I just pray that kindred souls everywhere are able to bear witness and feel this. With the economy down, it's amazing how not working can shine light on what you're working with. Dark times need enlightenment. We gotta wake up, open the blinds, pull back the covers, and get from under what's not important. No more inflated values, missed priorities, or irreconcilable divorces. Love is in need of assistance, so we need to change the system and redefine where the wealth is. Saving Wall Street don't mean nothing if we can't pay attention to what's relevant. Us, the state of you and me, is in need of more stimulation than economics. We need more investments in spiritual kisses and more intimacy between partners. You see, money is backed by gold currently, but that real currency is making this house a home for you and me. Backed by what we do and how I love and respect you. Loan modifications are for houses, but there's no foreclosures on this home. We own this, no loan on this. You're my 401k, my retirement. Everything I own invested in your feelings. Wide awake and sleeping with my future on this. It'll take more than a depression to hold.